Bills make a pretty significant move on the offensive side of the ball. A former first-round pick who has been the focal point of this Bills offense, has been a Jekyll and Hyde type of player for a lot of the Bills fan base. That being Dalton Kincaid, has officially signed his fifth-year option with the Buffalo Bills, or at least the Bills have exercised that. But the issue with Dalton Kincaid is he has been very much a Jekyll and Hyde type of player on the field and was in the Bills fan base. And we're going to talk about that all right here and what this 50-year options means for the Bills and what the Bills could possibly do going forward with Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position and his kind of focal point type in the Bills' new offense with Joe Brady. But before we get into today's video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the #1 sports pick app in the US of A and is the best way to get into the action. We'll get into my picks later in the video, but if you're signing up, use code DIGEST down in the description. Click the link. It helps out the channel a ton, and we appreciate all of you guys that sign up because it helps us here, and it's going to help you guys get right into the action. Now let's continue with the rest of the video. Now, like I said, guys, the Bills have officially picked up the fifth-year option on tight end Dalton Kincaid. Obviously, Kincaid has been very much a very Jekyll and Hyde type of player in the Bills organization, on the field, within the fan base. He was a former first-round pick, and the Bills kind of propped him up as what could be a baby Travis Kelce, kind of a guy who could be the Travis Kelce or the Robert Gronkowski to the Josh Allen. It has been hit and miss a ton. Obviously, it was one of Kincaid's better seasons last year, and that is saying a lot. With 12 games played, 39 receptions, 571 receiving yards, and about 5 touchdowns on the season. But with the good, there is also that of the bad. Obviously, the GM meetings were this season, and there were a ton of news that was coming out, and Joe Brady was speaking to the media, and obviously the talk of early in this offseason was what the Bills were going to do with Dalton Kincaid and his torn PCL, which he did not have surgically repaired in 2024, and then he declined, and now they're obviously going to let it heal naturally. But Joe Brady and Brandon Beane hinted at having to manage Kincaid's practice time and kind of putting him on as a load management type of player. Obviously, this is something that's big in the NBA with load management. It was kind of the forefront with Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James early on, and now it's shifting it to a lot of other sports, and maybe the Bills are going to potentially do that, obviously, with Dalton Kincaid. The injury history has been there for a while. Obviously, there's suspicion, and now it's confirmed that he did tear his ACL or injured in 2024. Obviously, re-injured it last season, which kind of caused him to be sidelined for a while. And as they were speaking to the media, it sounds like he'll be playing through a chronic PCL sprain from 2024 and now again in 2026 after struggling with it all of 2025's. The article goes on by saying, Brady is already wondering how the Bills will maintain Kincaid's week-to-week and play-to-play. Obviously, this is going to be very big for the Bills. They exercised the fifth-year option on Dalton Kincaid, which was kind of a talk going into this offseason. They exercise it, but now the issue is, what do the Bills do with Dalton Kincaid on this offense? You obviously have Jackson Haas and Dawson Knox, but they're not the same style of receiving threat that of Dalton Kincaid. He was starting to break out very, very early on last season. I mean, look at the PFF grade charts. Had a massive game against the Miami Dolphins. Had a massive first half against the New England Patriots. Then he re-aggravated the PCL, and it was downhill from there. If I'm still convinced that if Kincaid never got injured in that Patriots game, we probably end up winning that game. He was torching them. It was his first 100-yard receiving game. They could not beat him. He was their key to beating man coverage, which the Patriots were phenomenal at. But he obviously gets injured, misses the next 2 games, come back against Carolina on a snap count, which again didn't play too much. Has a pretty solid game against the Chiefs, then the Dolphins game, then re-aggravates it, misses his 2 games, comes back for the Bengals game, Patriots game, Browns game, off again, then the Jets, then the Jacksonville playoff game, and then the Broncos playoff game. Obviously, you can see the career arc on the PFF grade chart. We'll go full screen so you guys can see. Obviously, look at that. The guy was having a slow and steady progression with his development in the career. That 3rd or 4th year tight end jump is a real thing, and we were seeing it with Kincaid. But the injuries kept on piling and piling and piling up. And at one point, Kincaid was looking like one of the best tight ends in the NFL. He was one of the best ranked tight ends PFF-wise in the NFL. He was the 3rd ranked tight end PFF grade charting-wise. And obviously, you could take that for what it's worth. But he was looking very solid for the Bills. Now the question is, what do the Bills do with Kincaid? And how do they go about it with how they want to kind of attack with Kincaid? Obviously, he is a very good man coverage guy, but a load management type of player you cannot have on a big-time contract with Kincaid. Obviously, the 5th-year option is only $8 million. So, again, nothing too crazy. But then it segues into next year. Say Kincaid has a career year. 1,000-yard receiving tight end. Pro Bowl honors, potentially all-pro honors. And the injury history kind of settles away, but it's still lingering. The guy has had injury history since coming into the NFL. So, he has a big season next year. We sign him to a $15, $20, $25 million contract. And then the injury bug pops up again. What do the Bills do? It's going to be a talk all season of what the Bills do with Kincaid. You cannot be paying a part-time player big money with a $15 to $20 million cap hit, especially when you got someone like Dawson Knox on the team who's taking a pretty solid cap hit. Luckily, Jackson Haas has kind of shown and flashed signs of being a very good player, but I think his kind of ceiling right now is a Dawson Knox type of player, someone who can receive the ball but is really a really good blocker. That is not Kincaid's style. Kincaid's style is very much a slot/big receiver and kind of a man coverage beater, which the Bills could have used a ton last year. Obviously, Kincaid was injured, so he was not able to get used as much. But again, what are you going to do? It's the way football goes, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the Bills kind of approach with Kincaid this season with this new load management style, as well as how Brandon Beane is going to kind of look at contract negotiations next year with Kincaid, because if he has a big season, the Bills are going to have to pay a premium, and if he gets out that building, he's going to get paid somewhere else. It's very rarely that a stature or caliber type of tight end really hits free agency, so we'll see what the Bills do on that side of the ball. But before we wrap up this video, guys, I want to talk about Prize Picks one more time. I'm going to give you guys two picks for myself. What I'm going to go with, obviously, the first pick being yes on the Bills winning the championship. I think that, again, we're Bills fans here. We're all big Bills fans. Obviously, we are going to want to pick that outcome, and I obviously think that this is a great pick. And then looking at the season as a whole, some great picks, which I believe could be very well. Obviously, Puka Nacua has obviously the off-the-field stuff, so we don't know what his season could potentially look like, but less than 1,299.5 receiving yards for Nacua on the season could potentially happen. I think you're getting really good value with that pick. And then looking at the Bills team, new receiver DJ Moore with more than 750 or 749.5 receiving yards. That's good. You got to smash that. I think that is going to be a very good pick. And then less than Josh Allen, 499.5 rushing yards. He's getting older. He's going to be more of a pocket passer. I don't think the rushing is going to be more of a smash glass in case of emergency, kind of save himself for the playoffs. Obviously, he's had the injury this past season. Guys were saying that he could barely walk after that Browns game. So again, I think the less than 4 rushing yards on the season for Josh Allen, more than on receiving yards on the season for DJ Moore, and less than on the season for Puka Nacua on receiving yards. But thanks to all the guys at Prize Picks. Like I said, guys, go down in the description and check the pinned comment. Sign up down below with code DIGEST and help us out here at the channel. We appreciate every single one of you. And on top of that, I want to hear from you guys down below. What should the Bills, are you guys expecting a massive year from Dalton Kincaid this season? Comment yet Y for yes or N for no. And like I always say, guys, subscribe down below. And if you're not subscribed already, subscribe, stay in touch, stay informed, and go Bills.